by Ronaldo, and we are fast approaching the climax of today's, and in fact the whole of the virtual conference that we've had this week, which has been so warmly received by you all, and thank you so much for all your feedback. We really do appreciate it. We've already reflected on a memorable moment from the past as Spain lifted their first FIFA World Cup all of 10 years ago, but as we approach the end of our inaugural WFS Live powered by Ronaldo, now we look to the future. Even before the coronavirus outbreak, we had some on-pitch innovations with VAR and goal line technology. Well, now we are seeing how the game is adapting to the new normal for the TV audience, atmospheric sound, virtual fans, etc. Now, if we cast our minds forward a few more years, then what ideas will have become reality? Virtual reality, augmented reality could play a role. How about leagues playing regular season games abroad, like in the NBA or in the NFL? Or could that European Super League concept potentially be accepted and implemented? That's a bit of a thorny topic, isn't it? And what about women's football? Very important. We've covered it well this week. How much closer to parity will it be to the men's game in terms of coverage, audience, earnings? Let's find out, and we'll discuss plenty more, I'm sure, in the company of our penultimate panel, the former US women's national team player with a world record 354 caps, Kristine Lilly. Kristine, great to see you. The former Millwall, Everton, New York Red Bulls and Australia attacking midfielder. We know him well from his career here in the Premier League, Tim Cahill. Great to have you with us, Tim. Former Monaco, Paris Saint-Germain, Inter CEO of the FIFA Foundation, Youri Djorkaeff. Youri, bienvenue and welcome along. And the former Atletico, Real Madrid, Inter Milan and Argentina midfielder and ex-Madrid head coach, Santiago Solari. Santi, muy bienvenido. And your moderator, journalist for ESPN Deportes and ESPN Mexico, Vanessa Huppenkothen. Vanessa, you've got a star-studded panel here. Over to you.
Non, ça. Pas de son. Pas d'élu.
Ah, je vais mettre
D'élu qu'on n'a pas de son.
Ouais.
Okay, I think we're having a few problems with Vanessa. Vanessa, I think we might need you to just check your microphone and your audio settings because we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you at present. But whilst you're sorting that out, maybe I should just deputise very, very briefly. I'm sure that Vanessa will sort out her tech side of things and ask the panel one opening question, which is perhaps to ask you a little bit of a reflection on this last few months, really. We have been starved of the one thing, or one of the things in our life that we love the most, which is seeing football games on the pitch. Now, what did you find the hardest about that, and what learnings did you take from that in terms of just how important football is and the power that it has? Kristine, if I could first go to you.
Yes, well, I think we've all been affected with the virus, and I think it's been interesting. I think there are a couple positives out of it. Here in America, families were together more, and that's probably everywhere. You're probably eating dinner all together. You're probably talking about things you haven't. You're playing games maybe that you haven't. So I think that's been a plus on our side, and I think also youth. I'm talking about youth kids that I coach now, that they're so used to a structure of practice and going here, going there, that their creativity sometimes is lost. So I think this is also given an opportunity for young kids to be creative. But in all said and done, I'm missing the soccer field. I'm missing the smiles on the kids' faces, the camaraderie, the teamwork, the fun that the sport brings. So we're hoping to gradually bring those stages back here in America for our youth.
Tim, as a former player yourself, I'm guessing that camaraderie simply cannot be replaced, can it? When you think of being in the dressing room, when you've been at Everton, at Millwall, New York Red Bulls, wherever you've gone in your career, playing at World Cups with Australia. I mean, for the players, just give us an idea of how tough it must have been over the last few months, not being able to play the one sport that they love the most.
I think first and foremost is the health. Every player supports the fact that everyone needs to be healthy and make sure everyone's doing the procedure to make sure that it doesn't spread. I covered the Everton-Liverpool game, and it was so weird not being able to have the fans behind you, the thought process, the psychological, the mental effect it has on a player to perform. So the way I see it is it's going to take time. But adapting is the word. It's making sure that we can share this beautiful game any way we can, the technology, the innovation to share it on platforms like this. And The psychological side is going to be difficult, but the level and the intensity is something that you can't recreate from the normal having the atmosphere and the fans there.
Yeah, I guess if you're functioning at 100% as a player, I'm guessing that the crowd must make up at least a good 10% of that, at least, or 15% of that extra boost that you get when you're in a competitive environment, and you've got, those people who wait every weekend to go and watch their team at home, those season ticket holders, to boost your performance like that. It must be so eerie, must be so strange. Kristine mentioned creativity. Santi Solari, let me come to you. Obviously, with your incredible experience and knowledge of Spanish football, you will know about the different campaigns they had there, the La Liga Santander FIFA tournament that they had, the esports tournament, and also the virtual fans. I mean, have you been enjoying that side of things when you look at how they've tried to engage fans in the coronavirus hiatus, in the lockdown, to just try and keep them connected to the game?
Well, first of all, I want to say hi to Kristine, to Youri, to Tim. It is a pleasure to be here with you, speaking today. Second, I would like to say that it has been a very disruptive situation, and I want to give my deepest condolences to everyone who have lost a loved one, of course. And now to the question, yes, of course, football is doing all that football can, and the institutions are doing everything they can to go on with the competition and to try to keep up with this so strange situation. I mean, playing football without fans, football is about the passion, and the fans are a huge part of that passion. Not only the passion from the players or coaches or staff, but the passion of the people that loves football and loves to watch football live, not only on television. But yes, for example, in Spain, they are trying to, when they televise the games, they are trying to give to the audience an atmosphere of how it would be if the people was there. I mean, there's some drawing in the stands and some noises that represents the fans that are not there. But of course, we all want to get back to normal and not have all these fake people on the stand, but the real. So yeah, we all want football back.
Fake, but very useful at this point, Santi. But thank you also for those opening sentiments. It's really important to realise, that football is so powerful. It's so important in our lives, but it is ultimately just a game. And there are things that are more important. And as you say, there are so many people who have lost their lives over the last 3-4 months because of this terrible virus that we've all been subjected to. So we really appreciate those sentiments. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm going to try and see if Vanessa can hear us, because I'd rather our star moderator takes over than me try and do a poor imitation of her job. Vanessa, are you with us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. In which case, I will hand over to you for the remainder of the session. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, there are always technical problems. I don't know if you did answer before, Kristine. I was asking you, in your point of view, what has been the impact of COVID in sports until now?
Well, I think when you look at I think we're reminded how important sports are, in a sense that it provides distraction, it provides entertainment, it provides feeling a part of something. And without it, I mean, here in America, I know football everywhere else is the main sport on TV, but here we're lacking NBA, NFL, college sports that are starting up, kids that have missed their senior seasons playing. So I think it has affected everybody in a sense that it brings people together. And I think that's what's such a positive thing about sport, let alone football. And I think that's just what we're missing. And we're missing that distraction, because sometimes when things are going crazy, you don't want to worry about all that. You just want to focus on your team, see them win, and bring a smile to your face. So it has been difficult, I think. But gradually the games are coming back on TV, obviously without the fans that Santi talked about. But it is coming back. And I think, obviously, Tim, you touched on it too, the health and safety of everybody is most important. So they're trying to do the best they can to provide the athletes a chance to be part of their teams, and then the fans to be part of the teams as well.
If someone wants to answer the question or answer to Kristine, you're more than welcome. Santiago, you have been player and football coach. What are the feelings for both during these past 4 months?
different. I mean, from a player's perspective, I think they have had to rely heavily on self-discipline, on self-motivation. I mean, they have worked for weeks without the control of any staff, and without the motivation of competition, and without the motivation of their teammates. I think they've experienced the hardness for the first time in their careers. Players have experienced the harshness and the loneliness of the preparation for an individual sport, which is much more difficult. So to try to keep the mental and the physical shape without the support of a professional routine, and without the support of an army of club staffs helping you, it may have been a challenge for players. For coaches, the perspective is different. And I think the main objective of a coach would have been to be as close and present as possible, to keep the focus sharp, and to keep the motivation high of their teams. And to achieve that in this situation, they would have had to make an effort of efficiency and communication. So all the different members of the staff and the players try to create an environment of discipline in this particular situation when everybody's at home, and the coaches are at home as well, and nobody's working together. So that, I think that would be the main two challenges for players and coaches.
Tim, playing without fans in the stadiums affects the way football player behaves on the field?
Yes, I think it does. I think Santi touched on it earlier. It's the passion. And just imagine being a player and preparing for a game and walking out through that tunnel knowing that there's no fans there. The energy that we feel as an ex-player, I can understand the nervous emotions. You can't replicate that. But what managers, the staff have to do is they have to prepare the players mentally for the tactical battle. The game changes, the style, the rhythm, and keeping that intensity. Going into games of derbies and things like this, and being at a lot of games and covering it on TV now for the Premier League, a lot of the intensity is lost and it becomes more tactical. But overall, I really feel that football's back, and how it comes back, the most important thing, like I said before, is health. And secondly, just seeing it on our televisions, it's so good for the world, because this is the game that brings the world together.
Yeah. Youri, from your point of view and the FIFA Foundation, how can they help in this COVID situation?
Hi, everybody. I think what is important is to not to rethink as before, but think differently. Why we do what we do? Why is it important? Especially now, right now, why is it really important? And there's so many things where we can focus on, to foster to work on education, inclusion, gender equality, health, social change, promotion. And at the FIFA Foundation, we're trying to use the power of football to change the world. It's true, it's nice words in the nice environment, but now we're facing a crisis that never been before. And I think what is really important at the foundation, but not just the FIFA Foundation, but all the foundations in the world, are committed to be ready for the life are coming. And I think it's important that since the COVID, and we were blessed and lucky to be in a good condition, with my team, we were working on the present and the future of the football and the society. How we can help people on the ground, because we were going to need a lot of people. And what is most important, I think, is to collaborate and to be united all together. And this is why we're working on different project. And during the COVID, we use all the legend, Cahill, team, Solari. They were involved as an ambassador, as a model for the generation, to reuse their knowledge and images to show that football are in the heart of the society, and we just not in the heart. We want to use our power, our art to use the society.
Youri, you're very positive about it, and I wanted to ask all of you, also starting with you, Kristine, is there something positive from this situation of COVID-19?
Well, I mean, there is always something positive in any situation if you look for it. And I touched on a little bit earlier. I think one thing that has been really great around here, and when I talk to different families, is the amount of time families are spending together. So all of us are so going 100-mile-an-hour to practice, to this, to this, to that, studying kids. So we tend to forget to come together. So I think obviously we've all been quarantined and been in our homes. So it's given that opportunity for all of us to come together. And I touched on we've been having dinner earlier together as a family, not rushing to me coaching or my kids doing their activities. So that's been a plus. And I think adding on to that, we still have to reach out to each other. It's also kind of an isolation and a lonely feeling you can get even when you're amongst your family. And I think why we love football so much and sports so much, it gives us that escape. And I haven't been back on the soccer field yet, so I'm anxious to get back there to coach the kids, because that's the one thing I do miss is what the sport gives to these young kids, the laughter, the fun. And I know that they've been missing it too. But I think there is always a positive you can find in any situation. And I think coming together as families and remember what's important and to being kind and helpful to each other.
Do you think so too, Santiago?
Yes, of course. I mean, Kristine has said it. She named some values. Like working together, teamwork. She referred, talking about the family, but she referred to teamwork. I think it's difficult to find positive things after this struggle or this disease. But we can, bring some possible conclusions from it. And one of it would be that the fundamental values that sport teaches, as Kristine said now, have proven paramount in this struggle against the disease. I mean, commitment, solidarity, respect, discipline, perseverance. All of these are essential values in teamwork, and they have been key to deal with the situation, from governments to health workers to families, as Kristine said it, to the society in general. That's a positive conclusion.
What do you think, Tim?
I think it's the realignment. It's holistically looking at what's happened to the game and to the world and realigning all your values individually, collectively. You listen to Youri, and I was part of when we went to Lebanon with FIFA for Football Schools program, and giving back in that unique way and being able to really target these projects to change boys and girls' lives across the world is something, as an ex-player, that I'm very passionate about. And there's so many different projects around the world that are so important to everyone that I feel that football has a massive role to play, because we've been starved of the game that we love and we've missed it so much. So now we're coming back and we're making sure that all the stars are aligned just in case something happens, just in case business, commercial, the structure of football, Champions League, Premier League, every single league in the world. And what comes with that is the benefits of the message that we can send as ambassadors to such an amazing game.
Youri, what do you miss at most?
The smile, the dream of the kids. I think it's what brings football, and of course the fans are in the center of the football. But what I miss a lot is to be on the ground. Why? Because as a foundation, we traveling, we're going to the ground, we're going to meet the people, we're going to listen to people, and this is what I really miss, because they need us. They really need us. And FIFA Foundation, it's a global organization. We're not just focused on one country, we focus on the world, and there's so much to do, and we receive so much demand from everywhere, but it keeps us it keeps us busy, but we're trying, like Santi said, will be difficult to be positive, but we will push the limit and we will find a way. And football is a good way to make it smiling and dreaming for all these kids.
Of course. I'm going to change the topic a bit. We have seen many campaigns, TV campaigns about racism and discrimination in the past years, but they haven't had the impact we would hope. What can sports, and especially football, continue doing or change or do different so that the mentality, the generating awareness and respect of every human in this world can be there, and we can be more positive in this situation? Kristine, I'm starting with you.
Well, I think this is what I love about being part of team sports. I mean, obviously there's these individual sports, but soccer being a team sport, it brings people together, different walks of life, different backgrounds, different everything, and they come together for a common purpose. To win. I mean, if you're looking at the game itself, but they have to put aside differences and trust and respect and enjoy each other to be able to do that. And I think we're forgetting to do some of those things in life. We're looking at people just because they look different, or that instead of that they're people. And if we all have a common goal, which is humanity and to take care of each other and to enjoy life, I think things would be better. But I think sport has that power, and I think we've seen it so much. And I think if we start to show maybe some of the positive things that sport is doing, and instead of some of the negatives that are out there, that people's minds will be changing a little bit in that asset. But I think we really have to remind each other that we're all different. But that doesn't mean we all can't come together and respect and love each other. And I think that's what we're missing a little bit in life. And I think sport can really provide that, especially football. I mean, it's the world's game, and you see all different types of people playing, and you see the smiles and the love and the joy they have. So I think we continue to, as athletes, provide the product, show how you can work together as a team, no matter what your backgrounds are, and respect and love each other. And I think that's something that we really need to do more for each other.
Santiago, this is a cultural and a social problem. How can we start maybe with the little kids in the schools?
But it does. I mean, I completely with Kristine and with Youri, what he said about different work they do in FIFA and with team. Football starts with kids. Of course, you start playing football when you are 4, 5, 6 years old, and you start playing for the fun, as Youri said before. And football is the embodiment of inclusion. I mean, it teaches you with action, not with words. The only non-negotiable requisites to play football are values such as the pursuit of excellence, trying to win, trying to be better all the time, giving your best, respect for the rules and for your rivals, which lead to tolerance, humility. I'm sorry, I always pronounce that word bad. Honesty, and the will to have fun, as Youri said before. And everybody is welcome in football. I mean, and everybody who is willing to work for the team is welcome in football. Football teaches you by action, not by words, and we lead. Football leads by example. I think football is a great tool for tolerance or for all those positive values.
Tim, is there something else that comes to your mind besides a TV campaign to confront this social problem?
I think for me, being someone that's played in India, played in China, Australia, America, UK, embracing all cultures, the one thing for me, it starts at school. I'm someone that's very passionate. I write children's books. I start with the grassroots, the messages that we teach our children and what they bring home. Racism is taught. It's education. In schools, if you teach what's right and what's wrong, you implement something within inside their brain already that they different colors, different diversities, cultures. We learn religion, but it's how we learn it. It's how we're taught it. So with kids, a kid that says something, it's something that he's been taught by his parents. So for me, I'm massive on education. I have 4 children. My youngest is 8. And when this whole scenario goes on, I have to break it down in layman's terms and elements to a child. And that for me is so powerful. But there is one language in football. When I played in China, like Santiago said, it's actions. It's something that this is what the game can do. The World Cups that we play in, it brings everyone together. And I'm very passionate about education within schools. And this is a lesson. This is not just something that is a TV campaign. This is something that is a 30-minute lesson, whether it's PE, whether it's science. This is something that's needs more thought by government, institutions, organizations, and people with leadership and power to implement proper change.
Youri, please let us know what the foundation is doing about it in the last days, the last months, or the last years for this future.
For the future, I think what will be done before is done before, and it was working. I'm not sure. What I'm sure is we just finished the strategy for the foundation, and it's a 10-year strategy because you really need to focus on many programs and pillars, and we will have three main pillars on our campaign. It will be anti-racist, gender equality, and fight against disaster and epidemic. But I think what is important, and what my friends just mentioned right now, it's about education. It's about education, and I think it's not just one voice. It's how we can be united on one voice and spread it to the world and find a solution. It's not just to say, yeah, we're not racist, we fight against this, we fight against that. No, we're going to use the power of FIFA to make law, to make advance, to reunite, to unite people, and to fight strongly against racism. I think it's not something that we can say, okay, it will change in a few times. No, it's very deep in the society, and it's not just a question of kids. It's a question of parents, of teacher, of government, of agency. And I think what is important is the world of football. We know that we're not racism. I mean, we grew up when we were kids, there was no color, no religion, no sex, just football. And I think we should use it, the power of how the kids are improving, and show us that there's no racism in the kids team. And using at the FIFA Foundation to make a statement, and the statement would be stamped and would be used in all the world.
Of course. Well, we want to know you better, and you're very important people and example for a lot of kids. So I'm going to start with you, Kristine. You wrote a book. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I did. Yes, a year ago, I co-authored a book with 2 of my friends I met in Texas, both doctors in education. And it's called Powerhouse, and it's a book about teamwork. And it's great when we're just discussing it now, when it comes down to things. To be successful, there are many elements that need to happen. And the book isn't recreating what you need to do, but a lot of it's communication, it's trust, respect, it's leadership, it's selecting your team, coming together, doing what's right. So we created this book with 13 tactics, which is playing off my number that I wore for the U.S. team, and celebrating the success of the 1999 World Cup team I was on. Because when I look back to teams and why we were successful, it wasn't just what we did on the field or what just the players that were playing did. It were the players that were on the bench. It was our staff. It was all the people that were a part of our team that helped us be successful. So basically, the book shares interviews and stories from my teammates to help organizations be better, be more successful. And it's been kind of fun, I think. I think it's a lot more fun to play the sport than to write about it. But it's been great. And I've been doing a lot of different talks at different organizations to sports teams to universities, and just reminding us that, you need a team to be successful, and you need every component. And one of my biggest messages in the book is doing what's right in the process. So even if you want to be successful, it's not just to be successful to make the most money or to win. You got to do it the right way. And that's called trust, respect, values, to be successful. So I wouldn't say the process of writing the book was overly fun, but discussing it and bringing it to people's lives, and to add maybe something, some element to organizations to be like, oh, maybe we try that. But also to celebrate the women's game and the success of the U.S. women's national team as well was also a part of the factor.
Thank you. Santiago, you're a big fan of art and also a good reader. Can you tell us which book to read during these days and which museum to visit in the future, please?
I mean, I would like to read Kristine's book. So I want her to send me her book, because being Kristine, I mean, she's talking about the path, she's talking about the process, she's talking about the importance of doing the thing right, and that the measure of the success many times is in what you do and in the process, and not in how it ended. And she's telling you, after winning 2 world championships, after winning 2 gold medals in the Olympics, after scoring more than 130 goals for the national team and playing 500 million games for the national team. So, no, it is very important. It is very important that she wrote a book about the process and about the way and about what is it that you have to do and where the success is. Sometimes it's not at the end, because everybody looks at the trophy. Everybody looks at Youri Djorkaeff that won the World Cup or the European Cup. Or the team that scored, is the first Australian to score in a World Cup or to score in 3 different World Cups. But it's looking at the process, and I think it's part of the values and what we are talking here, which are important for football, is the work and the ethics of work and the teamwork that you have to do in order to be successful. So I would like to read that book.
Thank you, Santi.
Okay, and a museum?
Me too.
Me too.
Museum is El Prado. You have to go to El Prado and then to Real Madrid Museum, which is as important as El Prado, of course.
Good, thank you, Santiago. Tim, you're a writer too, but a kid's book.
Kids' books, since 2015, probably the biggest influence for me as an Australian, mum's from Samoa, dad's from England, was to help kids follow their dreams. I basically created a book called Tiny Timmy, and I have my kids in it, 13 books, and it's about different subjects. I was told as a youngster that I'll never make it. I was too small, not strong enough. And mine is always about a message. And you listen about trust, respect, the ethics of what everyone here is talking about. Mine's more giving kids hope. Kids with dyslexia, parents have kids that don't read. I try and, with the cover, the feel, the colors, different books, diversity. My daughter's one of the main characters. It's so important that you push so many different messages. Kids can color in the pages, they can flick, they can see the image of the player, myself. But it's more because of the platform I have to play in 4 World Cups, to leave Australia when I was 16. My parents had taken a loan to believe in me and sacrifice and their hard work. And this is the ethic now for me, is now 23 years playing and retired. I put just as much work off the park for grassroots, for important programs, to support FIFA, the foundations, and to strive to leave the correct message and legacy. So my 13th book is coming out now. It's about playing up and being brave. But every book has a layer. And these layers I like to strip down and include so many different things that my kids love. But for me, I'm very passionate about it, and I'm so blessed to have the career I've had, and also to share my journey in layman's terms for children.
Thank you very
That's
much,
awesome.
team. Youri, you're a designer and also you sing. When did you realize that you were a good singer?
Never.
Let's hear something.
This is I'm sure it's a Miguel joke behind, who said that I'm a singer now, but you know, when you had the chance to someone asked me if I would be interested to produce a song, and I say of course, why not, and I did it, and it was really fun, and it was really fun. And today I'm collaborate with a French brand Zilly in a special collection, sportswear, and where I'm very happy because this is exactly how I'm dressing and what I like it, and this is part of my short time when I'm not busy with the foundation. But just one thing, Vanessa, I want to mention something really important for me, because you know, Santi, Kristine, Tim, all these three players, legends, anytime, anywhere where I have something to do with the foundation, in football for school or player promotion, or tomorrow it would be refugee and migrant camps or community programs. They are on my wish list and guest list. You know why? Just not because they are champion and people love them. Because every time I spend time with them, I'm listening to them. I'm learning a lot about their own story, Christian story, Team. I read all these books, and it's very inspiring me. And Santi, we spend hours and hours to build the new world, because it's not just talking about our game when we were younger. It's talking about the present and the future. And these three people that you invite, Vanessa, they are very important for the next generation. And I wanted to share with you, and I think it's very important that they continue, and that FIFA Foundation support this kind of ambassador and legend, of course.
Thank you. You guys, you four are beautiful people inside, outside, and an example for everyone, kids and also people like my age. Well, finally, Kristine, for the
No, very
future,
old people.
would you? Yeah. Would you like to tell us something for sports after this thing ends, hopefully soon?
Well, I think it's funny that a year ago I was in France at the Women's World Cup. I mean, the U.S. won it last summer. So to think where we are right now from a celebration of the Women's World Cup, and one of the biggest and most celebrated World Cups of ever, with the most teams competing as well. So the growth of the women's game has been incredible, and FIFA's backing for that has improved and been so grateful. And Youri, you just talking about, you know, the group of us and the foundation, and I've been fortunate the past year doing a lot of work with you and work with Santi and Tim. I haven't yet with you yet, but it's been amazing for me because the females, we haven't always been part of that. And now we're trying to grow the game as a sport instead of by a gender. And I think that's incredible. And I think that gives an example for young girls to see, and young boys especially, to see me stand in front with these guys doing a clinic and being like, oh, she can play too. So that starts the change in the mindset for young kids. So I've been grateful for that. And I think, you know, through this time, and hopefully, you know, we're all going to be healthy and back to a way of life that was better than before, and out on the fields playing, and the kids in the classroom and learning and growing. And I think the reminder for me every time I do something is that we all have an impact. We all make an impact on someone's life. And I think whenever we do something, to always look at it in a sense, saying to make it a positive one, because we're speaking every day to young people or others, and we have this platform that not many always people do. So I when I step out into this world, when we're back to a better place, I'm gonna look forward to the laughter and continuing to be an example for these young kids and older kids, on the way you handle yourself and what your goals and motivations are.
Kristine, thank you for your words. I wasn't sure if I should ask this or not, but I think you're the correct person to answer this question. There was something in some months ago that they were speaking about doing a World Cup, a Women's World Cup every 2 years. Are you with it or against it?
Well, I don't know. I think we'd have to look at a lot of the elements involved. I think the first gist of it is you're trying to get women's soccer out there, which I think is incredible. However, I think the World Cup is a special entity, and the finances behind it and the amount of different countries that can maybe afford every 2 years compared to 4 might be a bit difficult. But I think if you look at the game itself, I think the finance investment from financially to coaching to player development needs to continue to grow for the women's game. And I think overall that growth will help the sport be more competitive as we reach the World Cup levels. But everyone loves a World Cup, so we'll see what happens.
Perfect. Thank you. Santi, for the future, what can you tell us, please?
For the future, well, I hope everything goes back to normal. Health first, as Tim said before. I hope Youri continues to do all the fantastic job he does for the foundation, and we are willing to help in anything he needs. And Kristine, I'm expecting the book and my address. Please send it via DHL. And I hope we have football back soon with all the passion, with all the fans as we used to have it before. And thank you for inviting me to this chat. It was beautiful to talk to all of you.
Thank you, Santiago. What do you think, Tim, about the future when this ends? What is the first thing you're going to do?
No, for me, it's about being positive, being motivated. Just look for solutions. You know, I know that's difficult, Toddy, but we all have amazing platforms. We're involved with amazing organizations. And the key is exactly what Santiago said. Everyone push for the same resolution to help. And I'm all about being positive and just trying to adapt to the situation. I really love the lockdown in the factor of spending such a long career, homeschooling. Wow, that was nearly the end of me. And just being able to be a dad like 24/7 has just been amazing. So the most positive things for me is to be proactive and be part of the journey that any way needed on my behalf. It's an absolute pleasure to be on here with everyone and listen to everyone's thoughts, because I think it's really important to share the thoughts and then to act on them as well.
Thank you, Tim. Youri, what's the first thing the foundation is going to do when this COVID ends?
I think summer camps, holidays camps for kids. You know, to organize something where through football we can have life skill, education, nutrition, art, and experts. You know, we're thinking to starting with a holidays camp, and of course our main project with Football for School. You know, Football for School is a project where at the beginning it was very technical project. Now we did a partnership with UNESCO, and we will have half of the project football, purely football, and half of the project life skill and education. But I think what is really important for the future is responsibility. Where is our responsibility as an individual, but as a collective as well? And this is a question I'm working on and trying to find an answer, and more important, trying to raise it as an answer, not just in mind.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Time is over. I want to thank you for Kristine Lilly, Santiago Solari, Tim Cahill, Youri Djorkaeff. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing so beautiful words with us. David.
Thank you very much indeed, Vanessa. And thank you also for persisting with the technology. It was great to have you back with us, and you delivered that session impeccably. Yeah, I think, you know, what I loved about that discussion is it extended far beyond the world of football, really, but just showing how football is so powerful, so influential, and has so much responsibility in our lives. And it just made me realize just how blimmin' talented you guys are, just outside the pitch with your various creative talents. I think, first of all, we heard from Santi, about football being a great tool for positive values. From Tim, that it all starts at school. It's education, it's ethics. From Youri, we heard about all the fantastic work of the FIFA Foundation, the power and the importance of listening and building the new world. And Kristine saying we all have an impact, make it a positive one. And I think actually there's a lot that us guys can learn from you ladies, because I think that certainly with women's footballers, the way that they are using their platforms to promote the sort of, I suppose, the social betterment of the world and football. I sense that there are some real figureheads, some real beacons there, particularly among the women's game, who do that excellently, impeccably. And I think we can all learn a lot from them. I think everyone should get a copy of Kristine's book. And Tim, I've got a 9-month-old, so I'm going to try and get a copy of your book, or at least some of them for him. And maybe when he starts playing football, I'll teach him to do some shadow boxing around the corner flag as well as a celebration. Thank you, all of you, so much for contributing so immensely to this discussion. We really, really do appreciate it, and for joining us here for WFS Live, powered by Ronaldo. So my thanks to Vanessa, Kristine, Youri, Santiago, and Tim. Right then, so on we go. We've reached the end. I honestly don't know how we've done it, because we've got to the final panel of the final day of WFS Live, powered by Ronaldo, and this one is one not to be missed, as we bring together two presidents, Infantino and Ronaldo, in a couple of minutes.